Picture waking up one day and realizing that more than $1 million of your family's money has been squandered, all due to someone else making the decisions. That's just what happened in a stunning court case against Kody Brown, the head of the celebrity Sister Wives family. For years, fans have watched the Browns navigate love, polygamy, and family drama on TV, but this case brings the stakes to a whole new level. It's not just about relationships anymore. It's about justice, accountability, and a shocking financial showdown that no one saw coming. For years, Kody Brown has been the central figure in one of reality TV's most talked about families. Known for his multiple marriages, large family, and the constant media attention that comes with it, Kody has always been someone fans either love to follow or scrutinize closely. The Brown family's life has been on display for more than a decade, and while viewers are familiar with love triangles, moving houses, and family disagreements, this latest court case takes everything to a level far beyond what anyone could have anticipated. In a recent legal battle, Kody faced a staggering court ruling. He was ordered to pay $1.2 million for money that had been wasted or mismanaged. It's one thing to lose money in life. It's quite another to have a judge rule that your own choices or incompetence cost the family so much. And at the center of this courtroom soap opera was Janelle Brown, the second wife of Kody, who has typically been portrayed as serene, supportive, and level-headed. But what this case showed was an entirely different side of her, one that most fans do not get to see on television. Here was a woman who was determined, smart, and clever, refusing to be ignored for making bad money moves. As the court hearing commenced, tension in the room was palpable. Lawyers fumbled through papers, Kody remained silent, and Janelle's team carefully set out the evidence. Bills, bank receipts, investment accounts. It all once seemed so insignificant, now became the spotlight for a multi-million-dollar battle. Viewers viewing the case in its entirety could sense the gravity of the situation. Every choice, every dollar misplaced, every financial miscalculation came under scrutiny. Could one wife actually defeat Kody Brown? Could a judge actually hold him responsible for more than $1 million? The verdict stunned fans around the country. Janelle had long been famous for her inner strength on the show. While other family battles tended to generate headlines, Janelle liked to work behind the scenes, taking care of her duties and raising her children with care and devotion. But when she learned that financial incompetence was threatening the security of the family, she chose to speak out in a manner that surprised even dedicated viewers. This was no longer simply a family quarrel. It had become a legal fight that could forever alter the Brown family. The courtroom was turned into a set for a high-drama show that could compete with anything on reality television. Kody, who has been so calm under cameras in the past, was faced with a whole new type of scrutiny now. Witnesses were brought in, financial records were examined line by line, and each accusation was examined minutely by the judge. The tension in the room was palpable, and everyone's eyes were on Kody as the evidence mounted. What made this story even more appealing was how likable it seemed to viewers. Millions of individuals have had money problems in their own lives, and watching a high-profile household go through this adversity lent a human touch to what might have otherwise been another celebrity tale. Fans were unable to help but sympathize with Janelle. Here was an individual, fighting for something that she felt was right, even when it meant going against her longtime husband. $1.2 million down the drain, and a family's faith hanging in the balance. How did things get to this point? And what would you do if you were Janelle? As the trial progressed, it became evident that the case was not just about numbers. It was about trust, duty, and responsibility in a family setup that is already unconventional and complex. The polygamous lifestyle of the Brown family throws in additional layers of complication for any choice, including financial management. Janelle's case was straightforward but compelling. She was asking for accountability, transparency, and equity. And by doing so, she emerged as a symbol of strength and resilience. The media attention around the case only served to heighten the drama. Headlines flashed across the web. Social media exploded with fan theory, and dedicated viewers argued who was right. But beneath the headlines, the true story was quietly playing out in the courtroom. A tale of painstaking planning, legal maneuvering, and an absolute dedication to justice. As the hearing progressed, the serene facade of Kody cracked. The proof was overwhelming, and the judge refused to budge in seeking clarity. Each little detail counted, from the teeny-tiniest mismanaged transaction to bigger decisions that added up to a whopping $1.2 million. For viewers, this was no mere legal case. It was a masterclass on how the single-mindedness of one man can shape even the most complex family dynamics. By the end of this initial session, everyone was on the edge of their seats. Questions hung in the air. Would the judge hold Kody completely responsible? Would Janelle be successful in her aim and get justice for her share of the family money? And how would this decision affect the Brown family in the future? Millions of dollars, family allegiance, and a court battle. The saga is true, and the stakes could not be higher. Tune in, because what is to come will alter the Brown family forever. Could one wife actually take on Kody Brown in court and prevail? Could she go up against the man who has guided one of reality television's most well-known families for more than a decade and emerge victorious? What followed was shocking not only to the courtroom, but to fans nationwide. This is the tale of Janelle Brown, wife, mother, and now, resolute legal powerhouse, who refused to give in when millions of dollars and family trust hung in the balance. Janelle's road to victory in this courtroom fight was far from simple. Years have seen her known as Kody Brown's level-headed second wife, juggling the task of raising children, maintaining her home, and anchoring her family's intricate polygamous setup. She seldom asked for attention, instead keeping her work speaking softly in the background. But this financial conflict that brought her to this case set her on virgin ground, into the public eye in a courtroom, surrounded by legal papers, proofs, and a steadfast determination of justice. When the trial started, it was instantly apparent that this case was not about numbers on a spreadsheet. It was about responsibility, openness, and justice in a family dynamic that has always been complicated. Janelle's side presented precise records explaining how Kody had run, or misrun, the finances of the family over the years. All the receipts, investments, and financial decisions were questioned in court, Janelle's lawyers highlighting a mismanagement picture, so clear that there could be no questioning of it. Millions of dollars down the drain, family trust in jeopardy. Could Janelle really establish that Kody was at fault? The drama in that courtroom was so intense, you felt it through the television screens. Janelle's strategy was calculated. She wasn't looking to embarrass Kody or make unnecessary drama. She had one simple intention: to make fairness and accountability the priority. This was a breakthrough for watchers. Janelle, who is usually demure and caretaking, showed a piercing, calculating intellect that was able to tackle serious issues. Each piece of evidence she produced, each point she made, was a testament not just to her wit, but to her will to right a wrong. At the same time, Kody was being pushed from all sides. Aside from the legal objections, there was public opinion to consider. Particularly fans who had been loyal to the family for years realized that this was more than just a common disagreement. Integrity, responsibility, and leadership were put on trial along with the financial mismanagement. The rivalry between husband and wife, previously private and domestic, now took place on a public platform where millions of eyes watched every move, every look, and every utterance. Could a single wife challenge a man who has ruled $1 million dynasty and come out on top? Janelle's guts in that courtroom left everyone speechless. As the trial went on, it was obvious that Janelle's tactic was working. She calmly pointed out the situations where decisions had cost the family unnecessary money, all while being respectful, composed, and never raising her voice. For anyone observing, it was difficult not to be impressed by her calm under fire. Whereas Kody's defense tried to justify or explain his choices, the evidence kept coming back for Janelle. Every argument she raised, supported by numbers and facts, eroded Kody's assertion. The courtroom drama was not solely about finances. It was about control, trust, and respect among family members. Janelle was standing up for accountability, even in as complicated a family as the Browns. That appealed to viewers, particularly those who have experienced family conflicts, money issues, or times when an individual had to stand up and insist on being treated fairly. Defying Kody Brown in court, that takes big guts. But Janelle's resolve was unshakable, and the whole courtroom could sense it. The viewers who were seeing this play out could witness the emotional significance of the moment. Janelle wasn't merely battling for a financial win, she was battling to secure her voice and place in a family dynamic that had long been controlled by Kody's authoritative hand. There were tense moments, short-sized interactions in the courtroom that left all of them wondering what the next several minutes would bring. It was dramatic, suspenseful, and very real. As the session went on, Janelle's unshakable position inspired audiences. She proved that even when power positions appear imbalanced, meticulous preparation, audacity, and tenacity can cut through. Her win was not certain, but she used every resource she had to battle with, establishing that she would not turn back or be silent. One wife, millions of dollars, and a court battle that rocked the family to its foundation. Janelle's firm stand wasn't about money. It was about respect, fairness, and demonstrating that in the worst of circumstances, doing the right thing is important. By session's end, audiences were left with a profound appreciation for Janelle's strength and fortitude. Not only had she taken Kody to court, but she'd also established a precedent of responsibility and justice in a family that's criticized for its non-traditional makeup. Her steadfast refusal had escalated the stakes, with everyone wondering what would happen next, and what it would mean for the future of the Brown family. When the judge banged down on the gavel, the entire courtroom was holding its breath. Everyone in the room could sense the tension in the air like a storm building to break. Millions of dollars were being risked, family reputations were at stake, and one of reality TV's most recognizable men, Kody Brown, was being asked questions he couldn't answer with charm or charisma. What followed would stun all viewers and transform the Brown family forever. The courtroom was filled to capacity. Cameras photographed intense faces of lawyers, judge, and the Brown family. Fans who'd watched the ups and downs of Kody and his wives for more than a decade were glued to the drama unfolding. This was not contrived television. This was on-the-spot accountability. With the glare of law and media watching, the stakes were high. $1.2 million in squandered funds, months of inquiry, and a public scrutiny of a family life that millions of viewers had come to care about. Kody, who has always cast himself as cool and unflappable, was forced to justify decisions that had once been business as usual in the family. Bills, investment, and expenditures that once seemed insignificant now stood as proof of what the court would eventually label wasteful or mismanaged spending. His attorneys claimed certain spending was required or misinterpreted, but the records and testimonies didn't look good. Each line item, each dubious transaction was now on trial under the harsh light of the courtroom. Imagine sitting in a courtroom, watching every dollar you've ever spent being scrutinized, your decisions questioned, your judgment on trial. That's exactly what Kody faced, and it was impossible not to feel the tension in the room. Janelle's attorneys labored day and night to make the case. Her attorney pointed to recurring instances of suspect spending, demonstrating that the decisions were not mere flukes but a recurring pattern of mismanagement. The evidence ranged from minute financial records, receipts, to even testimonies from financial planners that attested to the fact that most expenses had no explanation or very little. Every bit of evidence counted in her argument, building a picture of mismanagement that was hard to argue against. The court drama wasn't all about stats. It was about responsibility and trust within a high-profile household family. Kody's position as the head of a multi-million-dollar household family was being challenged before everyone: the judge, his household family, and the millions of viewers tuning in to watch every second. For longtime Sister Wives watchers, this trial showed them a side of family life they had never really known: the weight of financial responsibility in such a complicated household. Every piece of paper, every witness statement, every dollar conveyed the message. This was not a dispute. This was a serious money crisis, and Janelle was adamant about making Kody pay attention. As the trial progressed, Kody sometimes tried to defend or justify his action, but every time he mounted an argument, the proof appeared to pile higher against. The judge pressed for understanding, and the tension in the courtroom mounted with each unanswered question. It became apparent that this case was more than a fight over dollars. It was a test of leadership, of judgment, and of integrity. For those who watched, the drama was real, almost on a movie screen, but reality-based. Janelle's steady, focused demeanor was a stark contrast to the increasing pressure on Kody. She wasn't emotional or spontaneous. Rather, she logically put forward her argument step by step, demonstrating why responsibility counted. It was a strong reminder to the audience that courage and preparation can sometimes surpass authority or public standing. She stood not only as a wife demanding justice, but as a symbol of values that many families experience in daily life, though on a much wider and more public stage. Could a single wife upend a multi-million-dollar family empire? All eyes in the courtroom were upon her, and the tension was excruciating. The court proceedings had some startling revelation. Things previously considered small, such as personal spending, travel costs, and home purchases, were now framed within a larger context of poor money management. Janelle's attorney cleverly connected all of these choices to a bigger story, revealing that the collective effect totaled more than $1 million in squandered funds. The viewers could witness the stakes. This was not merely about money, it was honesty, responsibility, and the price of unchecked decision-making. At home, meanwhile, the audience was commenting on social media, shocked by the budgeting and by Janelle's courage. Her fans admired her diligence and her defense of self-respect. This dramatic showdown in court, while gripping, also evoked respect for her wit and strategic ability. The drama culminated as the judge scrutinized all the evidence and listened attentively to each argument. Kody's long-established reputation based on reality TV shows and media coverage was now being tried in a manner he had never faced before. The court had become a stage where justice, not television ratings, dictated the fate. The gavel was poised to drop, millions of dollars hung in the balance, and the future of the Brown family was on the line. What came next would leave us all gobsmacked. A courtroom drama larger than life for reality TV itself. By the conclusion of this episode, audiences could sense the gravity of the moment. The drama in the courtroom had uncovered much more than accounting disagreement. It exposed courage, resolve, and responsibility. It was a turning point for both Kody and Janelle, paving the way for a verdict that would transform the Brown family for all time. Finally, the moment that everyone had been anticipating, a ruling that would change the Brown family's life forever. Picture sitting in a courtroom, holding your breath, while the fate of more than $1 million is decided. All eyes were on the judge. Every beat in the room sounded louder than the previous one, and millions of fans across the nation were stuck to the screen. What happened next would shock viewers and send a powerful message about accountability, fairness, and family responsibility. The courtroom tension was close to intolerable. Kody Brown, normally calm and assured, now merely sat quietly, aware of the gravity of the moment. Faced by him, Janelle Brown radiated calm resolve, the outcome of several months of meticulous preparation and planning. She had constructed her case painstakingly, placing before the court evidence, financial reports, and expert witnesses to demonstrate that Kody's choices resulted in serious financial mismanagement. Now it rested on the judge's decision. When the gavel finally fell, the verdict was unmistakable. Kody Brown had to pay $1.2 million. The courtroom didn't become a scene of pandemonium, but there was a subdued, deep sense of finality. Janelle's determination, grit, and meticulous preparation had succeeded. For the audience, it was a victory moment, not only financially, but ethically. More than $1 million, months of stress, and years of family drama, that was not about money. That was about speaking up, demanding fairness, and demonstrating that accountability is important regardless of who you are. This triumph was not just a straightforward financial decision, it was symbolic. For years, audiences have seen the Brown family live a life of complexity and unorthodox family structure. Arguing, miscommunication, and money problems were everyday occurrences. But this decision established that even within the context of a polygamous family life, responsibility and fairness cannot be overcome. Janelle's victory sent a message to the family and fans alike: trust and accountability are not optional. Kody, however, received his reality check. Choices made without close examination were suddenly under the public eye and under the legal microscope as well. His position as head of the family came with a set of responsibilities that could not be ignored. Trust and money are closely linked, and this case brought that fact home in a very public manner. For Kody, the verdict was a wake-up call. A wake-up call that would not only impact his future financial choices, but also the way he governed and lived with his family. Could one courtroom ruling really redefine a family dynasty? Janelle's triumph demonstrated that bravery, preparation, and determination can conquer even the most formidable obstacles. Sister Wives fans quickly flooded social media with their responses. Numerous people praised Janelle for her strategic mind and tenacity, and how uncommon it is to witness such resolution and determination. Others pondered the lesson from this case: leadership is not merely authority, it's responsibility, equity, and accountability, regardless of how convoluted the family dynamic is. The court hearing also showed some of the emotional depths that hadn't been evident before. Although most of the case involved money, the real issue was about respect and trust. Janelle's insistence on taking it to court, even with the personal and public backlash, demonstrated inner strength that fans appreciated. It wasn't winning against Kody, it was about being right and defending the future of the family. $1.2 million on the line, family trust tested, and a courtroom full of tension. This wasn't merely a legal decision. It was a pivotal moment for the Brown family. The effects of the decision were broad. For Kody, it was a rethinking about how decisions would be made going forward. For Janelle, it was vindication, an acknowledgement that hard work, preparation, and moral fortitude could really pay off. The case made the point that in every family, regardless of the size or composition, responsibility cannot be ignored. Every choice has a cost, and good leadership takes both wisdom and integrity. The win also generated discussions on Twitter and social media among fans and viewers regarding fairness in multi-family households, the need for openness on finances, and the complications of dealing with big households. Janelle's display became a case study of how a single individual, with perseverance and meticulous planning, could make a difference and drive change. It was a lesson that went well beyond the Brown household and had resonance with viewers from all different backgrounds. A courtroom victory, $1 million win, and a family forever altered. Janelle's victory wasn't only about money. It was about showing that fairness, accountability, and courage can conquer even the most difficult challenges. Reader's Digest. By the end of this session, it was evident that the verdict had brought about a turning point for the Brown family. The verdict reaffirmed accountability, respect, and justice in all walks of life, and it left viewers thinking about the lessons that go far beyond reality show drama. For Janelle, victory was personal and symbolic, a confirmation of her strength, preparation, and absolute dedication to justice. For Kody, it was a powerful reminder that leadership carries responsibilities that must be honored, no matter how challenging the circumstances. The Browns, accustomed to drama and scandal, had another chapter to navigate, one marked by legal precedent, financial responsibility, and the irrefutable power of a determined wife who stood firm. And for audiences, the narrative still resonates. Courage, clarity, and commitment can truly make a difference, even in the most complicated and high-profile family. Following a $1.2 million court decision, how does a family get back together? How does love, loyalty, and trust survive when courtroom fights challenge the very nature of family life? For Kody and Janelle Brown, it was more than a courtroom thriller. It was a turning point that could redefine the entire family dynamic. Millions of viewers have lived with the Browns for years, watching love, tension, and drama unfold on television. But what occurs after the gavel comes down, after the verdict is declared, and the cameras roll away? The answers demonstrate strength, resilience, and an opportunity to grow, not only for Kody and Janelle, but for all families who face complex relationships. With the trial case settled behind them, the Brown family enters a new stage of their lives. Janelle's triumph did not merely secure a monetary victory, it asserted her as a keen, assertive voice in the family. Her careful study, bravery, and steadfast resolve delivered a clear message: fairness and responsibility cannot be disregarded in this family. For Kody, the judgment was an eye-opener. He had invested years presiding over a complicated household, taking money and personal choices that at times generated scandal both on camera and off. This court decision was an eye-opener, reminding him that leadership comes with a price, and also that choices have tangible implications. For Kody, it was an opportunity to restore trust, learn from errors, and remake the way he deals with his family, financially and emotionally. What does it take to rebuild a family after a courtroom battle? For the Browns, the answer is communication, accountability, and learning from the past. Social media exploded with reactions to the verdict. Fans hailed Janelle for her bravery and strategic savvy, labeling her a role model for anyone who is struggling with adversity in high-pressure situations. Viewers left many taking away the greater lessons of the case, that fairness, honesty, and responsibility are paramount in family and leadership alike, and that even in complex blended families, standing up can make a real difference. The case ignited debates regarding responsibility among blended families, financial honesty, and the value of confronting problems head-on without allowing them to brew in secrecy. Janelle's strategy demonstrated that it is achievable to seek justice with dignity and integrity even if passion is intense and relationships are at stake. Millions saw Janelle hold her ground, but the question is, how do you pick up where you left off after trust has been broken and money has been lost? As the family adapted to life following the court decision, it became apparent that change was needed. Kody needed to revisit how he made money decisions, how he spoke with his wives, and how he honored trust. Janelle, in the meantime, came out more confident than ever, demonstrating that diligent planning, bravery, and a firm understanding of right and wrong can produce real outcomes. The court fight also took a toll on the children and the rest of the family. Living through parental conflict is difficult, even in big families like the Browns. But living through Janelle's quest for justice and Kody's reaction of responsibility was a live lesson to the kids about bravery, accountability, and tenacity. The fact that the family could work through these issues proved resilience that appeals to viewers from all ages. Could a court victory really transform family life for the better? In the Browns' case, this courtroom battle provided lessons that go far beyond dollars and exposure. As the dust finally settled, fans picked up on subtle but telling differences in the Brown family dynamic. Money talk was more open. Decisions that may have previously been unilateral were now made with multiple family members contributing. Janelle's courtroom win wasn't symbolic. It set a precedent of fairness and accountability, illustrating that all family members' voices do count. The emotional effect of the decision was dramatic. Janelle's self-assurance and leadership challenged her fellow family members, and Kody was forced to accept the reality of consequences from prior choices. Fans could feel a change in vibe. The family was now living life with more consciousness and purpose. What may have otherwise remained an ongoing stress point instead became a learning and growth experience. Trust can be a fragile thing, particularly in the wake of a courtroom fight. But for the Browns, rebuilding trust was about open discussion, taking responsibility, and recommitting to family. Janelle's part in this endeavor cannot be exaggerated. Her courtroom stand proved that integrity and fairness are not up for debate, even among a family with complicated dynamics. Fans pointed out that her method wasn't one of causing drama or one-upmanship. It was one of restoring balance and accountability, proving that being right can be good for relationships and not bad. Kody, in the meanwhile, was brought face to face with a moment of self-reflection. The court decision was a stark reminder that leadership without responsibility has repercussions. For a man who has worked for years to run multiple households and battle public opinion, the wake-up call was a moment of great learning. Kody was given the chance to re-examine how he handled finances, spoke to his wives, and kept trust intact. A chance to develop as both a husband and a father. What happens when a family faces a crisis and emerges stronger? The Browns are showing that accountability, courage, and communication can turn challenges into opportunities for growth. As the family moved forward, the lessons of the court case continued to resonate. The Brown story reminded viewers that every family faces challenges, and that difficult situations can be catalysts for personal and collective growth. For the kids, the adventure gave a tangible demonstration of determination, strength, and the value of doing what is right. For the audience, it was entertainment as well as a learning experience about leadership, accountability, and the strength of principle. Fans also talked about how Janelle's win would impact future family choices. With responsibility now at the forefront, Kody and the rest of the family would surely consider financial and personal choices more carefully. The court decision had set a new precedent for the family, one based on fairness, communication, and respect for each other. Once the dust settled, the Brown family embarked on a new chapter, one characterized by accountability, communication, and rebuilding trust. In a very real sense, the court case evolved beyond a monetary issue. It was a tale of strength, bravery, and learning from failure. Janelle's actions showed that even in the face of high stakes, wise preparation and moral courage can bring about significant transformation. Kody's reaction showed that leadership is listening, introspection, and adjusting when things go wrong. As the family accepted this new beginning, viewers were reminded that drama in real life doesn't have a verdict. It goes on in how individuals decide to react. The Brown situation demonstrates that responsibility, bravery, and communication are paramount in rising above adversity, regaining trust, and making family ties stronger. This courtroom case is over with a decision, but the saga continues. For the Brown family, it's an opportunity to learn, rebuild, and move on with lessons that will last an eternity. Janelle's triumph is a testament to the power of fairness, perseverance, and guts to dramatically change lives and family. The Brown family, accustomed to both public scrutiny and complicated relationships, is now set for a future formed in the courtroom. Janelle's resolve, Kody's introspection, and the family's commitment to going forward responsibly tell a story of resilience and growth. To audiences, it's a story that sounds much deeper than television. A story of integrity, accountability, and the strength of standing for what is right even in the darkest of times. As the episode comes to a close, one thing is certain: the Brown family saga goes on. Viewers can look forward to more drama, victories, and a lesson in responsibility and grit. Janelle's courtroom triumph will be remembered as a watershed moment, a time when strength and resilience rewrote the destiny of a family that millions have learned to follow through the years.